Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I get the pleasure of having a video 2 days in a row. So let's go. So I would not say that I have a fear of children, just a very strong general dislike for them. Their dirty hands, their need to steal your stuff, they're running around, yelling, fighting, stealing your toys. They're very strange need to stand in dark hallways or my doorway at like 3 a.m. when it's night and I'm trying to watch YouTube peacefully. I just don't like it. It creeps me out. I feel very judged and attacked when they stand in my doorway. And I think everyone should have a healthy fear of children. And luckily, if we go to Reddit, one user already asked the question, what is some of the scariest things children have said to you? And so, let's take a look at it.
"Mummy, there's monsters watching you from the woods," said my 3-year-old when we moved into our new place and I was washing dishes by the big windows that looked out to the woods. I laughed it off and closed the blinds. See, things like this are why you should avoid children, especially children who live near the woods. It just does not go well for anyone. This is how horror movies begin. When my son was like 3 or 4-ish, he would wake up with bruises on his forearms that looked like little hands had gripped him too hard. When we asked what was happening, he told us an elaborate story about a little girl that lived in his closet and wanted him to hide in there with him. We sort of assumed that he was grabbing his own arms in his sleep and having nightmares, but that was definitely horror movie material. He said she wore a dirty white dress, her hair was falling out, her smile was too big, and she had red fingers. Honestly, at least the kid wasn't drawing pictures of it. That would, at that point, as this lovely user says, that is when you burn the house down. You just can't save it. You just gotta move on. The house ain't worth it. When I was in kindergarten, there was a bus accident and a lot of young children died. A lot of my classmates had heard of it in the news, so the school decided to have a religious teacher tell us that actually those babies were super happy because they were called in heaven by Jesus and were playing with him and having fun. So for the next couple of days, I interrogated my mom on how to kill myself so I could go play in heaven with Jesus. Oh boy. That's horrible. That's not even creepy. That's just horrible. The poor mother. I know though, when I was younger, I had a cat that died, and because I had always been told that when things die, they go to heaven, the only way I could comprehend that an animal that I loved had passed away was by drawing the cat on a cross, getting crucified. So, I don't always know if it's good to tell young children that when things die, they're happy in heaven. It can lead to awkward things like that. No one's child ever freaked me out, but apparently I scared my parents. We were looking for a new house during the SARS epidemic. They found a house they really liked, but apparently child me had come up to my mom and said, "I made new friends. They told me they died here, Mom." A family did get killed in that house a couple months prior. I can't remember this, and I want to say it's just a coincidence, but my mom tells me this story every now and then. Yeah, that would be creepy. This is why children are bad. A little girl in my church nursery once told me, "They are here, in the walls. Don't let them in." She was talking about a mouse she saw in the church kitchen. Oh, in that case, yeah, don't let them in. Alright, so I'm a teacher, and to get my degree, I had to do a child psychology course and actually sit, while supervised, with a kid. With my luck, I get the kid right out of The Shining. He has to see a psychologist because his parents found him trying to drown the family dog. While we were talking, he didn't blink once. He kept staring at me. He didn't even acknowledge the lady supervising us. He barely moved aside from tilting his head like he was listening to something behind him. When I eventually asked him why he tried to drown the dog, he told me he licked my hand and I didn't like it. He then tilted his head to the side again and said, not to me or anyone really, but something behind him, and yes, because it was fun too. I have never felt so creeped out in my life. I still think about that kid sometimes and what he is doing, and if he got help, or is still haunting the dreams of people. Probably still haunting people's dreams. Gosh, that would be horrifying. Daughter was 3. We laid her down in our room for a nap. I went in to check on her and she was not in bed. I freaked out for a second, and in the darkness I hear a low and faint child's whisper from behind the chair saying, "I'm right here, Daddy." The way it was said made the hairs on my neck stand up. I'm glad my daughter popped out from behind the chair quickly because I halfway thought my child was demon possessed for a second. Whew. See, children like doing things in the dark. They have no fear and no sense of survival, and so they will risk getting harmed by you in the dark. Any of the seemingly endless times my kids have talked about invisible friends in their room, especially if they aren't friendly ones. Of course, we are a monsters aren't real house and don't show weird outs on our face, but it can get pretty weird at times. So I believe in ghosts and all that, so when my 12-year-old baby looks into the void and smiles or starts laughing, it scares the hell out of me. I think the default setting for kids is Wednesday Addams. Agreed. My daughter. We should play Frozen, but only when the parents die. You better watch your back. Let her go. In the middle of the night, my niece woke up and it was pitch black in the room. I heard her moving and I said her name and she responds in a gravelly voice right by my head. Don't say my name. Thought I was about to get murdered by a 5-year-old. Back in the late 70s, my husband and I moved into a farmhouse on his parents' property. My mother-in-law was really into restoring old homes, so she knew lots of things to look for when examining a home. They purchased this old farmhouse because it joined their property of more than 100 acres. She told me that the farmhouse had at one time caught fire. She opened the pantry to show me the charred wood, etc. She also pointed out to me the original part of the house before it was added on. It was also brought to my attention that someone died in that fire, but she had no more information. My 3-year-old son's bedroom was in the original part of the house. He freaked me out one day when he told me about his friend, the boy in the wall. He said the boy couldn't come out because he was burning. I later found out from my mother-in-law that the wall my son talked about used to have a window. His bed was against that wall. You could see the outline of a window through the wallpaper. He often talked about the boy in the wall. Still freaks me out to think about it. Yeah. Children are horrifying. Avoid them at all costs. Mommy, there is a boy on the roof of the garage looking at me. Creeped everyone out until the grown-ups figured out it was his reflection. Yeah, see? Nope. What use do children provide? They just creep everyone out. When my son was about 2, his 4-year-old sister injured herself somehow. Maybe a nosebleed or something. Fair amount of blood. 2-year-old. I want to go in the Nazi blood closet. Me. What? 2-year-old. Repeats phrase. Yes, I heard it correctly. Me. Still confused but processing. 2-year-old. I don't want to see the blood. Metaphorical light bulb moment. Ah, the Nazi blood closet. Yes, you can go hide in the closet. We'll get your sister all fixed up. You did not see that coming. My nephew who said he was going to throw a baseball at my head and didn't care if I got hurt with a smile at my face. Same kid was also obsessed with the killer clowns from a few years ago. Said he wanted to be one to scare people. Okay, so I remember that killer clown stuff that happened. It actually got pretty bad in my area, which makes sense since I live in a place that has only 2 things, farms and forests, 3 if you count drugs. And there were so many clowns out that year, and I'm not gonna lie, I think I've got traumatized from how many clowns I had to see. I will never be able to look at clowns the same way again. I hope now we can all walk away from this video understanding why children should be avoided at all costs. Anyways, if you have a healthy fear of children, feel free to leave a like on this video and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. And with that being said, we'll see you tomorrow.